Hi, guys. Let me share something with you real quick. Here's the thing: Medicare is predatory, not the coverage itself, but the way that it's sold. Too many brokers pushing plans that serve them, not you. Too many mailers designed to confuse you. And for a lot of us, that's not surprising. We're used to systems that weren't built for us in mind. That's why I'm putting you on to Chapters. They're independent, the only Medicare providers that compare every plan nationwide. They are honest, they are salaried, they don't earn more based on what they recommend. They look at your doctors, your prescriptions, your whole situation, and they find what actually works for you. If you're already in the right plan, they say so straight up. Whether you're new to Medicare or if you've been on it for years, call Chapter 855-415-7389. It's free, 20 minutes, speak to a real person, know your worth. Testing, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Testing, testing, testing. Honey, this is the last week I'm going to be in these braids. Happy Friday, everyone. And what a Friday it is. Excuse me. Today I was having a very hectic day and I started not to do a live, but sometimes it's easier for me to do a live and chop up the content. So, and then I said Fridays, I'm going to start having live call-in shows. However, the goal is to go live in the early afternoon. So, and today just wasn't a day. My car, I had to get towed to the mechanic. It just completely shut down. I thought it was a battery. It was not. So it kind of just threw my whole day off. Hi, me. Shout out to everybody that's watching on X. And so, I wanted to come on to talk about a couple of things and make sure that's the right number. Oh, yes. So, and it's like Friday will be the call-in show for you, the audience, to call in. Definitely want to talk about the Karmelo trial, the verdict, and everything. Hi, Sylvia. Of course, we all know he was found guilty and he was sentenced to 35 years. The appeal is already in. Apparently, he has a public defender for this appeal. And honestly, that may work out better than his attorney, Mike Howard, who was his attorney for the trial, because I don't think he did a good job anyway. Why is this curl here? It's not curling. It's like, it's just looking funny. So, but that's not what I want to talk about. I really don't want to talk about his appeal. I'm gonna mention it, but I want to talk about Dr. Candace Matthews airing out the DA Greg Willis and the judge Roach Jr., Judge Roach, and their little dirt. I love Dr. Candace Matthews from Texas. She is no nonsense, but she get shit done. She gets things done. She is for the people. She is not a grifter. She is not trying to be Showtime at the Apollo. No, she actually helped Black people, Hispanics, Mexicans, white people. She is no nonsense. She knows how the system works. And I am going to play a clip for she had a press conference outside of the Collin County um, courthouse. So, yeah, love her. Love what she's doing. And apparently she's in Memphis. Hi, Soprano. So, also, what I'm going to start to show off with is the Democrats, especially the Black Democrats, the Congressional Black Caucus, right? They are, I guess, call themselves coming back home to their Blackness, because now all of a sudden they want to talk about reparations. And I want to share this because Representative Ayanna Presley held a press conference today about that. Let's see here. And she's calling it reparative justice, the reparative justice agenda, right? And I'm not buying it. However, this is the perfect opportunity for the grassroots activists that's been on the forefront, on the ground, boots to the ground in New York, in Boston, in California, and everywhere else across this nation, fighting for reparations for over 10 years, right? This is the perfect opportunity to take advantage of the Democrats, because the Democrats are the majority um, public representatives, public officials, politicians that are representing our areas, predominantly Black areas. So, being that they want to mention reparations and talk about reparative justice, okay, you activists go hold their feet to the fire and demand legislation to be passed on a state level and then push it on a federal level. No more of this congressional hearings, because we don't trust the Democrats. First of all, we don't trust anybody. We have no friends, because the last 4 years under the Biden administration, they were focused on illegal migrants and then immigrants and then LGBTQAI and then maybe sprinkle the rest for Black Americans. But now that the Republicans, are taking a page from the Democrats and playing dirty and able to redistrict and gerrymander a lot of these districts that really carved out and eliminated a lot of blue seats, now they want to come back home and represent Black America. They want to actually do their job. I didn't want to be, oh no, this is perfect. So I want to play this clip and have us talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to play the whole thing. This is 30 minutes of pure nonsense.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Anacostan and Piscataway peoples, who have stewarded this land for generations, long before the founding of the United States. It's important that we take a moment to honor their sovereignty, their resilience, and their ongoing struggles for justice. Any conversation about repair in this country must recognize that the harms of slavery and anti-Black racism are intertwined with the theft of indigenous land and the suppression of Native nations. As we approach America's 250th anniversary, we find ourselves at a defining generational moment. We are living through an unprecedented assault on Black people. This administration is pushing out Black workers, disenfranchising and silencing Black voters, further threatening the lives of Black mamas with a growing Black maternal morbidity crisis, undermining and rolling back Black progress and Black power, and might I add, weaponizing a Department of Justice against Black leadership. They are not just trying to take us back to Jim Crow. They are trying to take us even further back to pre-Reconstruction, at a time when our basic humanity was denied. So we must be clear. The next 250 years cannot look like the last. The next 250 years must be about repair. The inequities we face today are not accidental. They are the direct result of this nation's original systems designed to exclude, to exploit, and to harm Black people from the very beginning. And every single day, those systems continue to do damage. We see it in unequal housing. We see it in underfunded schools. We see it in denied health care and widening health disparities. We see it in the barriers that prevent families from building generational wealth and achieving financial stability. This harm is not incidental. It is man-made. It is manufactured. It is legislated. It is codified in budgets. It is intentional.
Right there.
And in that the harm has been intentional, we demand a response that is just as intentional. Now, of course, true justice would mean that these inequities never existed in the first place, that our communities were never marginalized, never targeted, never stolen, never left behind, but we are here. And so we must work towards repair. This means reparative justice, like advancing H.R. 40 to develop reparations proposals. And as the lead House sponsor, I commit to advancing this bill alongside my movement siblings in the broader work for repair, truth, and healing. But let me be clear. This is not a movement or an appeal for benevolence or charity. This is a movement to demand redress, to right wrongs, to compensate for the harm and loss that we have experienced. And there are evidence of this government already having done this. Whether you're talking about the GI Bill, where black veterans, however, where 1 million of black veterans were denied access to that. Whether you're talking about Americans that were victimized in the building of the nuclear bomb. Whether you're talking about coal miners and black lung. We have done work as a government in redress and repair where harm and injury has occurred. We have done this as a government. We just simply have not done it for black Americans. And that is why we are fighting for comprehensive reparative justice legislation that provides real wraparound support for our communities and begins to deliberately close the gaps that were deliberately created. So we call on Congress to act to meet this moment with the urgency it demands, to help build a future grounded not in denials, but in repair, in redress. The next 250 years cannot look like the last. That proof begins with the courage to finally reckon with the first. So again, I thank you all for being here, and now I will turn it over to...
So she's about to bring Representative Summer Lee out of Pennsylvania. Now, Summer Lee has recently been talking about reparations as well. And I wanted to pull that up and play it. Where did I put it at? Oh, here we go. But before I play that, I had to do a little research on what is this reparative. It's not even called reparations, reparative. So it's not called reparations, it's called reparative justice agenda. It's pushed for Congress to adopt policies that formally acknowledge the harms of slavery and systemic racism and then repair those harms through concrete legislation on reparation, housing, health, and economic justice. She frames it as the work of the country must do as it approaches the 250th anniversary of the United States. Yes, because this year is 250 years. Black Americans, we should be celebrating. Next week, Friday is Juneteenth. We should be celebrating this whole year. Part of the celebration we need to do is start pushing back against a lot of black grifters that are running around here on social media trashing black culture, black Americans, as if we're the only ones with any problems. And if you fix the black problem, you could fix the youth and American problem, right? So, and I'm actually going to start a segment on black grifters and just start exposing, quote unquote, or putting them on a front street and just giving more information to the public on who to watch out for. But anyway, the core idea of this, she's saying, is calling for transformative, reparative justice agenda. Healthcare, racial wealth gap, blah 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 blah. So it says the legislative reparative planks, while not all branded under one bill, her broader reparative agenda includes bills that address racialized harm in a criminal legal policy. For example, federal death penalty, um, housing and rental protections, reproductive justice, and access to education and books, all framed as part of repairing historic ongoing equalities. That doesn't sound like repairing historical inequalities. That sounds more like what you should be doing as a politician for your constituents. You should be doing that anyway. So you want to end the federal death penalty. Well, what about state death penalties? Federal help for renters, housing access and support, access to reproductive care, protect access to books. I'm going to say this. She is doing a lot of grifting here. She's doing a lot of grifting. And this is Representative Summer Lee. Actually, no, let me finish playing this clip here, because I want y'all to hear what Representative Summer Lee has to say.
My sister, someone who I am very Pennsylvania. That's right.
And fearlessly doing serious work, because I know that sometimes the attacks that we get against us, people pretend that our work is not incredibly serious, but we all know it is, and that's why we're in it. I am Summer Lee, and I represent Pennsylvania's 12th congressional district, and of course proud to stand here alongside my sister rep from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in this work. The federal government has time and time again kept its knee on Black Americans and then told us that we need to then pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. For over 400 years, I recognize that this is the 250th anniversary, but we've been here. Over 400 years, this country has stolen Black labor, Black lives, and Black futures. And at every stage, our government has sanctioned it. From slavery to Jim Crow, to redlining, to mass incarceration, to environmental racism, and to economic disenfranchisement. We're still living through those effects today. Attacks on voting rights and representation, and Black health and Black wealth, and so much more are not only a ghost from a long ago past, but they are very present and ongoing legacy. We see how easily centuries of progress and struggle are undone with a stroke of a pen. The president was able to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion shouldn't be implemented in our institutions. The courts are diminishing Black political power. Black women face insurmountable levels of unemployment and unsafety in childbirth. Black lives and Black futures are and always have been obstructed by white supremacy. As a descendant of my enslaved ancestors, I'm deeply humbled to be the lead sponsor of the Reparations Now resolution. Black folks are owed more than thoughts and prayers or see you laters. We're owed restitution and justice to repair the government-sanctioned harm that has plagued our communities for generations. Congress won't even pass a bill like H.R. 40 to study reparations for Black Americans, but the president.
So before she get on Trump, because they always have to bring up Trump as if he's the problem, why didn't the Democrats pass H.R. 40, vote to pass it out of subcommittee under the Biden administration? Why didn't they vote to pass H.R. 40 under the first Trump administration? Because that's when they held the congressional meeting, I believe, when Trump was president. Or was it under Biden? Either way, it never left subcommittee. And now they want to hold these press conferences and talk about reparations, talk about repair, talk about wealth inequalities for Black Americans, but you gave all our wealth away to illegals. You provided them with health care. You provided them with housing assistance, with education, with books. You provided them with jobs. So you want to talk about Black women being unemployed? but you employed millions of illegals under the Biden administration. So everything these two women are saying now, it is because the Republicans done carved the hell out of your Democrat districts. Jasmine Crockett is gone at the end of this year. Al Green is gone, and several others. So yes, you are losing political power, and rightfully so. You should. But now you want to say reparations, reparative this, restitution that. So this is the perfect time for the real activists, the real people pushing for change, pushing for reparations on the local level to hold these lying ass politicians to their word, hold their feet to the fire, take advantage of it, and be willing to sit down with Republicans. If you can get an opportunity to meet with the president, do that. You have to be able to meet with who's ever in charge, whether that's someone you support or not, whether it's your enemy or not. People do business with enemies all the time.
As they are playing psychological warfare with us. They are hell-bent on beating us down to our face and then telling us that, we're the ones who are crazy. And we got to fight back against this. So you know what? I have just not engaged in that topic of them trying to give like insurrectionists some dollars, because we got to control the things that we can control. And they want Black folks to feel like they're poking, like that they're knocking the wind out of us, right? That's what they need us to feel that way. Because if we feel empowered, if we feel like we have even a tiny bit of momentum, then they know that we have enough power to do damage. Positive damage, good trouble damage, or whatever.
Good trouble. That's it.
Good trouble. But yeah, it's absurd. And that's what they do, because again, they're trying to disenfranchise you. Because if you believe that you're never going to get reparations from this system, then you tap out. And you don't just tap out of the conversation, you tap out of the system. You don't want to vote anymore. You don't participate anymore. And they know that that's how they don't just control Congress. That's how they can get your school boards, your board of supervisors. They want us that far out of the system. So right now, we fight for reparations because it's owed us. It is owed us. So we're not going to back down on that one way or another. I'm not shocked that my colleagues are not on it, that Democratic colleagues aren't on it. Again, there is a level of comfort in this building that sustains people. And I know that the people who don't want reparations back a lot of my colleagues, Democrat and otherwise. So no, I'm not shocked. But it is why we have to keep people on the outside encouraged. So it's not that we have to cancel out the news when they're doing shit like that. We can't cancel out the news. Like, we got to live in reality. But we have to counterbalance that with our plan, our organizing plan, with how we're going to build this coalition, who we're working with to move the needle on this. And I think that our time is really well spent there.
So she said a whole lot of nothing. Because another thing, you start hearing reparations, repair for Black Americans. We are old, over 400 years, 250 years, blah, 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 blah. Ever since Trump said, you know what, to the IRS, you don't have to pay me back my money that I sued you for and won. I want to create an anti-weaponization fund. So the people who were arrested on January 6th and anybody else who was arrested throughout this nation by the federal government and even on a state level, right, for standing up for their rights, whether it's for reproduction to get rid of Roe versus Wade, and they were arrested on January 6th or what have you. He started basically a restitution fund, a reparation fund for those people, the anti-weaponization fund. And the Democrats lost their mind. Why? Why you lose your mind? Because he did something that you guys should have been doing. You should have been had a separate congressional committee solely for foundational Black Americans reparations, or American descendants of slavery reparations, or freedmen. You should have been had that, but you blew it. You blew it. So technically, yes, we are starting from scratch. You gave all the money away. to illegals. You gave the jobs to illegals. You gave the trainings to illegals. You give extra resources and specific public policies to immigrants. You did nothing for foundational Black Americans. Nothing. I'm sorry. But you continue to want our vote and our support. Not going to happen. It is not going to happen. So when we start seeing these little press conference and, reparation this, all this reparation talk, like I said, take advantage of them. Use them. And the reason why we need to be using them is because they use us. And if you can't be used, you're useless. I haven't talked about my girl.
If you've been thinking about getting
Jasmine Crockett for a minute. Let's talk about Jasmine Crockett before I get into Dr. Candace Owens bringing the heat. And guys, please hit the like button. Please share this video. If you would like to send in a super chat, please do so. I am going to put the phone number in the chat. It is going across the screen. If you guys would like to call in, I'm calling this Freedom Friday. Freedom Friday, right? It's the call-in show. Freedom Friday.
Reverend Alfred Daniel Williams King. I love
this much time,
specifically on critical race theory and DEI, not specifically talking about or teaching race and their positions on that. I'd like to insert that in the record.
Objection. Gentleman from Texas recognized.
You know what? I hate that we have spent this much time, on SPLC and we've not addressed the elephant in the room, the literal elephant in the room. The vast majority of the people on that side of the aisle, and for those of you that are at home, let me tell you, when I say that side of the aisle, I'm talking about the Republicans, the ones that brought this hearing. And again, you've heard that this is not the first hearing, but the vast majority of them are white men. White men are lecturing.
Hold on, what did I say? I said Dr. Candace Owens, right? What did I say? Did I say her name wrong? I didn't mean to say her name wrong, but which name did I say? I don't know.
People of color, because the vast majority, actually, any semblance of diversity comes from this side of the aisle. You want to tell people of color who is fighting for who? People of color do not feel comfortable or welcomed within your party. That's why you have to parade someone who has the name Dr. King attached to them so that people can be confused, because I have been reading the comments online and people are like, who is this Dr. King? Because you want them to believe that somehow she espouses who Dr. King was, yet you've yet to have MLK the third come in here. You've yet to have Dr. Bernice King, the ones that were actually raised by Dr. King, the ones that actually probably understand the teachings of Dr. King. And I just want to be clear, because I want to talk to y'all about what the Dr. King had to say about racism, so that y'all don't get it twisted and don't get it confused just because you see the name sitting in this room. Our nation was born in genocide when it embraced the doctrine that the original American, the Indian, was an inferior race. That was from his 1963 book, Why We Can't Wait. He also said, in the final analysis, racism is evil because its ultimate logic is genocide. If one says that I am not good enough to live next door to him, or to have a good, decent job, or to go to school with him merely because of my race, he is saying consciously or unconsciously that I do not deserve to exist. This was from his 1967 speech, The Other America. So just to be clear, y'all don't seem like y'all even understand what a hate organization is. So I went to Google to help you out. A hate group is an organized group whose beliefs, practices, and primary purpose are centered on advocating malice, hostility, or violence towards people based on their immutable characteristics such as race, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or disability. So I know some of y'all are, caping for Charlie Kirk, because I done heard y'all talk about his organization over and over and over. So I'm not finna play with anybody who's gonna play with my time, so I'm going directly to Miss McCord. Professor, let me put some respect on your name. All right, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Does that sound like a hater or not?
That sounds like a racial stereotype.
Okay, sounds good to me. We made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the mid-1960s.
That sounds like someone who still adheres to racist views.
Okay, America has freedom of religion, of course, but we should be frank. Large, dedicated Islamic areas are a threat to America.
That is someone who can't accept that America is a multiracial, multi-religious place.
Okay, these all just happen to be comments from the fearless leader of Turning Point USA, so I could see where SPLC was going. I also think that it's so interesting that right now, just for those sitting at home, you may not know that Oversight is not having any hearings right now because the Republicans don't want to deal with the Epstein file, so they have shut down all of Oversight committee hearings, right? So we've got an indictment for SPLC. I have still yet to see an indictment on any Epstein defendant. Not a one, but okay. And we want to talk about what happened in Charlottesville, and we are so upset about Charlottesville. All of a sudden, I would be interested to know which one of you had something to say about Charlottesville when it happened.
So I'm going to fast forward this because I can't sit here and listen just to her babble. Babble. Mind you, she was talking about illegals and not even LGBT. She was specifically talking about transgender and illegals for the last 4 years. But all of a sudden, now that she lost her seat and she will not be back in Congress, she is not going to be back in politics for a while. Now she's back to talking black. You hear and see these black politicians all of a sudden talking black because your job is on the line.
You are the last party in the conference.
Oh, somebody called in. I haven't paid 347. I'm gonna be 346. I'm sorry, I'll be right there. They're all talking black because they don't have a job. They don't care about us. And this again, but I will still reiterate here. You need to use people, use these politicians, use them, no matter if they're Republicans or Democrats. And this is the perfect time to use Democrats. So I'm going to fast forward to what Miss Alveda King had responded to Jasmine Crockett, because she was basically calling Miss Alveda King a bastard child to the King family.
We're not given that opportunity. Would you like to briefly respond to that?
Very briefly.
Thank you for being here. I know that there was a monologue earlier in which you wanted to respond. I think you were kind of ready to do that, but we're not given that opportunity. Would you like to briefly respond to that?
Very briefly, Congresswoman, I am a bit emotional. I'm going to watch what I say. But it seems as though you have suggested that I am a bastard to the King family legacy. I am legitimately the daughter of Reverend Alfred Daniel Williams King and Dr. Naomi Ruth Barber King. We are a family who loves God, and I love you. God bless you.
Ms. King, let the record reflect that the gentlelady from Texas left the room. Thank you for responding to that.
Upset about.
So she walked out on her. How disrespectful. But you want to talk black, but you couldn't even give that black woman the decency to sit there and hear her completely out, hear her response to you. Everybody else sit there and they hear the backlash. But you can't even give her that much respect. But you want respect. And all you want to do is talk black. because you're going to be out of a job. She gets up and walk out because she's a coward. 346. Hi. Happy Friday. 346.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, am I on?
Yes.
I don't know if y'all talking to me. Can y'all? Okay, good. Okay, so so everything. So I do agree. With the Karmelo Anthony's. We talking about Karmelo Anthony and okay. So this is what I say, because see, they did withhold evidence in the courtroom. They did not show him getting jumped or nothing. Me personally, I say dig his dead white ass up and dismember his pussy ass and put him on the stand. Fuck him. Fuck that dead white boy. And his family, fuck they grieving.
Can we refrain from using the F word?
Yes, ma'am. My apologies about that. But I mean, but that's just my opinion. I know everybody different. Because I mean, it's kind of like in a penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? Like when it turns to race, it may not have been about racism, but the supporters that this white clown have are racist. He even had, I don't know if you saw the video of some white dude saying white lives matter. See, black lives matter. We're not saying that all lives don't matter, but black lives matter because we are the most ones that are the most forgotten about. Laws kill us and get away with it. Hey, ain't no punishment to them. Hey, green light on all white crackers. Fuck them.
Didn't I just ask you to stop saying the F word?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That's what I said. My bad. I mean, forget them.
So, did you just watch me play Jasmine Crockett? Do you have anything to say about her?
Hold on. I thought y'all talking about Karmelo Anthony.
I'm about to talk about him in a second. I'm about to get to that. You want to stay on hold?
I think I might have called him.
You called early.
Okay. Yes,
you just called
stay on
early.
hold.
All right, stay on hold. I'll put you on hold.
Yes. Oh.
All right, 346, sit tight, because I'm about to get into Karmelo Anthony. People feel I think people are more upset because he got 35 years. There are people who was like, well, he shouldn't even he should have been acquitted. No. But most people are upset because of the 35 years. I think that was way too excessive. But anyway, let me just finish up with Jasmine Crockett here. Don't she look crazy?
Rep Crockett, you might have seen that Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. I want to get your reaction to the trial and the verdict.
My heart breaks for so many reasons. And so I was just speaking to a student that is shadowing me who wants to be a public defender. And so it takes me back to what actually made me decide to get into this legislative work in the first place, because I know that our systems are broken. And what we saw with that verdict is the evidence of a broken system. Now listen, from everything that I understand, which I wasn't at the trial because obviously I got a day job, but it's my understanding that Karmelo ended up stabbing, puncturing, I don't know what this tool was that they talk about.
Girl, you are a politician. Why would you even want to be at the trial? You are a federal congresswoman. That's none of your business on that state level.
Knife, or some refer to it as a tool. He ended up hitting Austin one time, and it was about where he hit him. One time, 2 inches. This wasn't someone who said, hey, let me stab you 5, 6, 7 times. And so when you're looking at the punishment range, there's a reason in Texas that it goes from 5 to 99 or life, because you are looking at how intentional, like how bad was this? 35 years for a kid who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining, and simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a black person in this country, but just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen or humanity seen when this black boy said that I was scared. or the fact that honestly anybody else who did something with such a small object, all I know is that it wasn't considered unlawful carrying of a weapon because the blade was not long enough. That they wouldn't even say, well, maybe this was more so something that looked like manslaughter.
Well, some people might say, why are you even bringing a knife like that to a track meet?
Yeah, people may say that, but walk a day in my shoes and then respond. Because we as black folks say, why is it that people need long armed guns when we are going out and having a First Amendment protest? But people say that's their right. They are allowed to do that. And again, it wasn't against the law for him to have it. It may have been prohibited by school rules, which he wasn't at his school at the time, but it definitely was not against the law.
So you think race played a role in the verdict?
Oh my God. I know Collin County, so absolutely. Collin County is right north of Dallas County, and I can tell you that I have had cases that I felt like played out differently because of the counties that they were in. And unfortunately, that was not the county for a black boy.
So if this were a white boy in his exact same position, you don't think he'd get a 35-year sentence?
I would guarantee you it wouldn't have happened. I don't even know if he would have been convicted, because if a white boy would have said that they were afraid of a black boy, something tells me that that jury that didn't have any black people on it, they would have believed him in his fear.
Well, there's so many different opinions on this case. I mean, even your Republican colleague, Randy Fine, I mean, he's saying that he should get the death penalty. Your take on that?
Again, racism.
Yeah, death penalty is too excessive. But I did put a poll in the chat. Was Karmelo Anthony 35 years sentence too excessive? I say yes. So let me come back.
Line muted.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Line unmuted.
954. Sorry.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Miss Dana?
Yes.
Miss Consuelo?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
So
the thing about the case that bothered me was that there was no parents or authority figures to handle the situation. Considering that, and I think I stated this before, this is a track meet, so you sign permission slips. Don't we sign permission slips or sign off for these individuals to be the guardian of our children when we're not around in these situations? And then along with that, where is the sportsmanship? Where is it that, we are just naturally or just going to be aggressive towards one another, even though we're, from a visiting team? I didn't grow up like that. So I'm dumbfounded. First of all, there's no sportsmanship where there's a certain code of conduct between the opposing teams or individuals, and then where were the adults to handle and regulate the situation?
So do you think 35 years was too excessive?
Yes, most definitely. Because even if it sounds like it was, even if he did something that, he didn't intentionally do, that was not intentional. That's the point, right? He didn't intentionally attempt to murder someone. But again, it escalated to a point where some things happened. To me, I look at it just like, there have been plenty of people that accidentally hit someone in a hit and run, or not a hit and run, in a car accident. And they're not prosecuted for 35 years. They understand it's an accident, right?
Right.
So I do believe things like that happen. I'll state, you never know what mental space people are in. And people really seem to think it's okay to walk up to people, put their hands on them and things of that nature. But at the same time, we really have a major mental health situation in America, because a lot of people are suffering from PTSD. And they're not just military people, right? These are civilians or just regular Americans walking around that have all kinds of issues going on. And you just never can tell how people will react in these different situations. And there's no standard. No one is supposed to, you can't tell someone how to respond when they're feeling threatened. So, you know, this is to me very harsh. And I just hate that, you know what, this is happening again, and again. But anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I always appreciate you, calling in. Usually, we used to have like the panels and stuff like that. But I want to hear from the people tonight, about their thoughts on the sentencing. Listen, the trial is over. I don't think had a good defense. The public defender that I heard he has a public defender for his appeal process. I'm not sure, but if he does, that's probably the best bet. Because a lot of times, even the judge told me a lot of public defenders are better than paying for an expensive lawyer. But his actions is no excuse for his actions. Now, Texas have a lot of, lenient stand your ground and self-defense laws. And they do allow minors to carry a knife if it's under 5 inches. So you have these laws. So when you do have, he was a minor at the time, but these teenagers, committing these crimes, you want to charge them as if they are serial killers, So it was the Casey Allison. He got 10 years and he stabbed the guy in the bathroom multiple times. And he intentionally brought the knife to school to stab him. So that was premeditated. So with Karmelo Anthony, it was not premeditated because he did not know Austin. He did not know him. And you still give him 35 years. Now, 10 years, cool, out in 5, maybe 7. But 35 years, they made an example out of him. And that's what I don't like. As far as when people want to talk about it was an all-white jury, Black people eliminated themselves from the jury. Because Black people could have been on that jury. They just said, oh, I can't convict another Black person. It's crazy. But I'll give you the last word, Consuelo.
Well, I think you just, with that point, I will make this point about us and the jury duty. We have a certain history in this country that even if sometimes, we participate, they will remove us anyway. Right. Mm-hmm. It's very hard for us to, even if we want to, because I know plenty of people would love to participate and they'll immediately remove us. It doesn't even matter what case it is. But the other thing about that is you make a great point that if the Casey Allen was premeditated and he only got the 10 years. Now, how in the world, if this is not premeditated and it was, again, an accident, or, it wasn't planned, let's put it that way, how does he get 35 and Casey Allen doesn't get 35? So I think the appeals, they say a public defender, I don't know about that. I'm having these moments with the attorneys anyway. I'm like, I've been looking at cases where people have been representing themselves. I know he can't represent himself because he's a young individual, but, it's just the fact that some of these attorneys are not, they're just grifting off the money and just getting the time and saying they're going to do certain things. And I think that's just what happened with his case. That attorney was not really there to support and provide the services for the Karmelo Anthony. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And we have not heard from Mike Howard. Everybody is talking except for the DA and Mike Howard. Even the judge, he sat down with a one-on-one because he's retiring this year. So, I would like to hear from Mike Howard. But he did not have a good defense team at all. But thank you. I really appreciate you calling in. Maybe next Friday we could do a panel or something.
Okay. All right. You just let me know. I'm usually around because, I have the babies and stuff. So we're usually hanging out on Friday.
Now, well, if you got time to stay on the line, you can if you want, if you have time.
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay. So I want to get to this caller and then I'm going to play this clip. So let me get to 662. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Hey, Dana, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right, this is my first time ever calling in.
Oh, hi. Welcome. So
Yeah,
what do you want
I
to say?
I be watching you and Joe Brown almost for a while now. I like the things you say, but 35 years is really it's kind of over excessive about how they did that and stuff like that going on. But I got a question to ask you. The question is, if stand your ground law is in Texas, and if the board did not know a Karmelo Anthony didn't know them at all, and for them to attack him, what do Black Americans supposed to do?
If they did not have stand your ground?
No, if they got that now, they got to stand your ground in Texas. They got that law. But I'm saying, what do Black people got to do to say how do I put this?
To protect themselves?
Yeah, protect themselves. Now, it's easy for white America to kill us. No problem with that. They got the court system, they got the judges, they got everything that's on their side. But the moment Black people protect themselves, then it's wrong. What gives them the God-given right to kill us? But when we turn around and protect themselves, then you got a jury that's stacked against us. I can't understand that.
I think that's a good point, but the thing with that, it's not about race.
It got to be about race because if it wasn't about race, we wouldn't have all these problems.
So are you saying that Austin? So then that means you are implying Austin confronted Karmelo because he's Black?
I think it was a more issue of who Karmelo was as a human being, as a person. Now, if it's raining outside and you were invited into a tent just to get out the rain, okay, of course you're gonna go over there and on the tent and get out the rain. But what make him go over there to where he was at and tell him he can't sit there? Who made him God? That's my question.
That is true too, but again, I say it's not about race because we don't know if he confronted him because he was Black. If he was white, if he was Hispanic, if it was a girl, he probably would have said something. And then again, this wasn't televised. We didn't see the video. The video that was shown in court did not show what happened under the tent. So, and the witnesses that came up there, most of them was saying that Austin was not being aggressive with him, even though he told him, leave, I don't want to fight you, whatever. So again, the self-defense claim fell apart. And sometimes I look at it like this: in a court of law, you got to put race aside, unless the claim is about a race hate crime to that extent. But something like this, put race aside. And if you were claiming self-defense, you should have had something that would have really benefited Karmelo Anthony. And what that would have been is for Karmelo Anthony to take the stand, because the majority of the witnesses and even the defendants, two or three of defendant witnesses, changed their stories when the day when they took the stand. So the witnesses were not for him, even though some of them were vague with the story. They weren't there between, they were kind of like off to the side. The one thing that could have helped, I think, Karmelo Anthony either potentially get acquitted, that wasn't going to happen. Manslaughter or just less than 35 years, maybe 10 years, as if Karmelo Anthony would have took the stand. I think that is where the defense messed up. That would have been the defense key witness, the person who actually did the stabbing, because this is a self-defense case. This is not a regular murdering, it wasn't premeditated. If he would have got up there, looked remorse, even cried, and and then blaming on I was naive, stupid, but I felt like I was in fear for whatever. Even coach him. You had a whole year to coach him how to be a witness on that stand and prepare him for the prosecutor, because the prosecutor will definitely come at him very hard. You had a whole year to prepare, just to wait to the last minute before closing arguments to say he's not going to take the stand. And you had a 2-hour lunch. So I think at one point they probably agreed that Karmelo was going to take the stand, and he chickened out at the last minute. And I truly believe that turned the jury off, because they did not see enough remorse. So I think people just need to remove race from it, because if they had somebody black on the jury, just like they had somebody black on the Rick Child jury, they all voted acquittal. So that doesn't mean if you're black, they're going to vote in your favor. But he should have took the stand. But anyway, I'll give you the last word.
Okay. If that's the case, let's go back when George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin. If Trayvon Martin just left his father's house, going to the store to get a bag of Skittles, it wasn't our word, it was George Zimmerman words that they always get away. Now, you mean to tell me this boy harder for his life? When it going to be enough? Because black people in the United States, all over the world, we're getting to a point now where we don't got to a point. We're sick of white people. We're not saying all white people. I'm going to say that real clear, not all white people. But the ones that actually are doing the murder and killing us have no regard for human life. They have no regard even for us. So when we turn around and defend ourselves and protect our life, now if I go outside this door, if somebody trying to do bodily harm to me, now I'm running for my life. Now it's up to me to let that man take my life, or either I'm going to take his life, one or the other. But they have been taking our life ever since we've been over here. And the court system always has been stacked against us. Now, I like the other point that you made about the Democrats. I was a Democrat. I was a diehard Democrat. But I cannot go with the Democrat, because if they had did their part and had some kind of bill passed, a hate crime bill, we probably wouldn't be in all this mess. But they don't even care. They don't care about black people. Yeah. Democrats haven't not did anything for black people, and Obama haven't did nothing for black people when he was in office for 8 years. That's just the truth. Anybody can get mad about it, but I'm just speaking the truth. So I like what you said and how you said it. You didn't lie about it, because anytime that you keep talking about the people of color, I'm so tired of hearing that from the people of color, the people of color. Stop calling us the people of color. Call us what y'all been calling us, black folks. Right. Let everybody take care of themselves. Don't be calling us the people of color. The Asians don't want to be with us. The Hispanic people don't want to be with us. Okay. So everybody keeps saying that we need them. We don't need nobody. We don't need them. If we got this much money, same power that they claim that we got, don't you think we should be able to do something for ourselves? But I know how hard for some black people. I know how hard for some black people. For some black people, they still on the plantation. They free, but they're not free in their mind.
That's
all I got to say.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I want to play Dr. Candace Matthews. And I'm saying her name right. I know I'm not saying her name wrong. Because, honey, she wasn't out there with the protesters and all the rah-rah during the trial. No. She came when it was all said and done. And I think this was perfect timing, because she always comes with facts.
And then I want to also say to the very people that would say, well, Dr. Matthews, she's not here. No, baby, you don't know what the hell I was doing. Because at the end of the day, I'm here now. The big dog is here now. And people going to be held accountable in these streets. And one thing that I want to lay out, because I know y'all didn't know nothing about this, since what I was told by some of the court watchers, they would bring information to me and tell me how the DA was talking in that hearing. would tell me how the judge was moving in that hearing, right? Well, baby, I got some tea on them in the bag of evidence. Baby, this is the hammer bag of evidence. So, hold this for me, brother. See, I ain't come out here to play. Bring it on. I came out here since you over here want to call this boy a murderer, then we're gonna take the covers off you. Ain't no way in hell that you need to be a damn DA with this foolishness. Did you know? Hold this, please.
I got you.
That there is a 75-page federal lawsuit for sexual harassment of the DA that was saying that Karmelo Anthony is a murderer. Well, you need to be a registered sex offender, sucker. Let me read. We ain't know that. The pot calling the kettle the black cow, but you the whole DA out here. Oh, so you thought y'all was the only one that could go in PACES. And let me explain to you what PACES is. PACES is the database for federal lawsuits. See, we have a research team, baby, that's colder than the media. So let me go ahead and read a little bit of it to show you how disgusting this joke is.
It's serious.
After Jane Doe 1 refused defendant Willis, ain't that his name, Greg Willis? Oh, okay. Advances at the Galveston TDCAA conference, he treated her quite differently in the workplace. He began demeaning and berating her. In one closed-door meeting, he told her, "You think like a child, and I would treat you like a child." Defendant Willis likely appreciated the gender slurring that is implicit in a male supervisor telling a female employee that she thinks like a child. Oh, wait a minute, it gets better. Hold on. More than once, she tried to break free, but he held her tighter. These physical encounters were unwanted and sexual in nature. Jane Doe 1 eventually put in for a position in the Victim Assistance Division and got it.
Hold on for a second, guys. 614, can you hear me? 614. 614. All right. I'm going to have to reset the phones, but go ahead. Let me play this.
December 2020. This role put her under the supervision of Chief Prickle. However, the unwanted touches and full frontal hugs with moaning continued. The most recent of the sexualized hugs back in April 2022. We got a damn freak for the DA. But you want to talk about Karmelo Anthony. No, we're going to talk about you. Because if you want to sit up here and go do this rocket docket type case, well, we're going to rocket docket your ass. Because you need to be in jail. You do not need to be a DA here. But see, this is what they don't tell you. That's why you got to research your people, who you're voting for. And I'm going to say this to the Republican Party. Republican Party, y'all need to write somebody else in. Because this man here is a sexual deviant. And he has no place being a DA here in Collin County. And if you want to see this lawsuit, you can go to my Houston Stringer page or Nights on TV. We're going to drop the whole 75 pages so you can read it for yourself. And there's some sick puppy foolishness in here.
So let me read some of this sick puppy foolishness. Consuelo, are you still there? 954?
I am. I'm still here.
Okay, I just want to make sure you could hear me. So real quick, let me just read.
Yes, I can hear you. I couldn't hear you there for a minute, but I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. So let me read some of the sick stuff. It says one of the plaintiff, investigator Kim Pickrell, claims he made repeated sexual advances towards her. TV reporters summarizing the court documents say she described him moaning, pressing his body on hers, and telling her she couldn't help himself from getting excited because she looked too good when she didn't play along. She says the work environment turned more hostile. So Yeah, he's a pervert. They also described his management style as a frat house. It's not just about Greg Willis. The federal lawsuit goes into his first assistant, Bill Worksky, accusing him of constant screaming, humiliation, and sexist comments that he made in the workplace, making it a toxic environment. Alleged cover up. The complaint also drags in the county judge and multiple commissioners, saying they knew or should have known about the misconduct from letters, exit interviews, and internal complaints. So, listen, judges knew, county officials knew, and they covered the whole damn thing up. They let him go on to keep his job. I'm sorry, if he was a black person, they would have made him resign and probably press damn charges. Now, the city, the taxpayers of that county had to pay $1.7 million out as a settlement. That didn't come out his pocket. That was taxpayer dollars. Now, does this have anything to do with Carmelo Anthony trial? No. Because even though he had unethical practices in the work environment where he worked at, but in the appeal process, whoever Carmelo Anthony attorney is, they cannot use this past lawsuit for a retrial or for anything because it has nothing to do with the DA was not acting inappropriately during the Carmelo Anthony trial. He was not doing anything to withhold evidence. He did not do anything unethical involving the Carmelo Anthony trial, even though he has been unethical or displayed unethical behaviors in his office and was sued and had to settle. That has nothing to do with the Carmelo Anthony trial. But the point that Dr. Candace Matthews is making here is that you vote for these DAs. You vote for these judges. And so what people need to do is be proactive and start digging into these people's resumes. Are they on some list of being, abusing kids? Have they had any lawsuits for unethical practices? Because we vote these judges and DA into office.
But he DA though. Oh, okay. Let me see. Yeah. But then we took it a step further. Hold that for me. Hold on. We took it a step further because anytime we pull court documents, my legal team will put it in an audit, and it'll give a psychological background of the defendant. Y'all want to hear it? Yeah. I can't hear you. You want to hear it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we have predatory behavior patterns of District Attorney Greg Willis. The complaint outlines an administrative pattern where DA legal and professional power, including his authority to refer individuals for indictment and control criminal investigations to isolate and exploit female employees. Oh, he enforces strict closed-door policies using forested glass office doors to maintain total occupancy. Across multiple independent plaintiff accounts, Willis repeatedly utilized identical operational pretexts to force unwanted physical contact. He frequently claimed he needed help with an electronic document to draw female staff behind his desk, subsequently tapping them in chairs, massaging their shoulders, stroking their limbs, and forcing full frontal body hugs while rubbing their lower backs, audibly moaning. He explicitly framed his actions as personal compulsions, telling staff, sometimes I can't help myself. When he near to them, and blaming their appearance for the lack of professional control. Got your glasses kind of got in the way. But Judge John Roach Jr. is on that list. And this the same judge that convicted with family and children. You need to know who's. It's another black journalist that we all work together. All us people, activists, journalists, we work together. And I thank him for giving us this information, and we confirmed all of it. However, Judge Roach, now I'm on your avenue. Okay? Did y'all know that there's a third-party website? Because y'all know I deal with judicial accountability, right? Y'all know I bring them judges and I slang them when they dirty, right? So there's a third party that I want you all to be able to go to. And I'm going to make sure that we put it in the article so you can use that as a resource. Because whatever court you go to in the United States that deal with family and children, you need to know who's on this list. And this is a list of child abuse judges. This is child abuse judges, and this comes from the childabusejudges.com. Yeah. See, you don't know until you know, right? Okay. So as of 12/22/2025, 1,400 plus judges have been accused of child abuse. Many judges 2 to 6 times. So let's see what state we got Texas up with, because this is all of them. But I'm just going to show y'all Texas. Let's see who name on here.
Receipts.
Oh yeah, here you go. My Versace glasses kind of got in the way. But Judge John Roach Jr. is on that list. And this is the same judge that convicted Karmelo. So, you know what they say. Don't throw rocks living in a what? Glass house. So, you need to know who is governing you guys. Because if you don't, how do you know how to move? That's why elections is important. You need to know who you're voting for. Y'all over here putting sex offenders in here, child abuse judges in here, and you wonder why you can't move 2 steps forward and you got to take 2 steps back, and then they turn around and take your kids from you. Then they turn around and have your ass going to TDCJ for over 30 years. But that's what you got in this county here.
So I wanted to play that clip there so that you guys can understand what she's saying. Now, this has nothing to do as far as misconduct towards Karmelo Anthony's trial. However, when you have unethical DAs, and a lot of them are throughout this nation, these prosecutors are grimy. And when you have unethical judges, we need to know that. We need to know, how can we research any type of misbehaving conduct that these people have on their resume? A lot of people don't know. So yes, she gets in front of a microphone. She is loud, but I'm sorry, she is loud with facts. She is active. She gets results. Dr. Candace Owens. Dr. Candace Matthews. That's what I said. Owens. So sorry. Dr. Candace Matthews. She get results. And that is the type of person and people we need to be supporting. But that is what we need to do, is being proactive. Because if you know a judge that's up for re-election and you're able to find out if he's on any type of list, particularly a child abuse list, would you vote for him? No. Would you vote for a DA if you know that he has a lot of misconduct in the workplace? Absolutely not. And if you're not voting these type of, unethical professionals in office for prosecutor and judges, if you're not voting them in, then a lot of times you will see better results when it's a major trial. And it's all political. Prosecutors charge and try a case so that they can get political points to stay in office and to work their way up the political ladder. And what Dr. Candace Matthews is bringing to the forefront is saying, we the people are the only ones that could stop this circus. That's why I wanted to play it. Now, just real quick before I get back to the phone lines, I want to share her Instagram because she's exposing Dominique Alexander.
So I'm supposed to respond to clout chasing ass attorneys a year later, talking about, man, I would have done this, I would have did this strategy, I would have done, you wouldn't have done a damn thing. And I can take responsibility for whatever I did or whatever it may be, but I'm still here. And people want to attack me when I was there. Where were you? Why couldn't you do it? Why couldn't you answer the call? Why couldn't you go over there and stand outside their house? And
Dominique Alexander is a race hustler. He's a grifter. He's another grifter. And somebody said, this real quick, Basketball Jones says federal judges and SCJs are not voted in. They are appointed, FYI. We're talking about state and county judges. And I moved to Ohio from New Jersey. New Jersey, we don't vote for our judges, nor do we vote for our prosecutors or our DAs. However, in Ohio, you do. In Texas, you do. So she's speaking to the states where you vote your state local judges. Federal is different. They are appointed. We're talking about state level. Carmelo Anthony's case was not a federal case. It was a state case. And that is the most important elections that we need to pay close attention to because that affects us the most. I want to get to the phone lines real quick. 614. Can you hear me?
We're talking about state level.
I'm sorry. Can you? All right. 614. You have to go on mute. Honey, you have to go on mute. We have to go on mute. Let me try it again. 614.
I want to get to the phone.
All right. 614. You have to take the show off. You have to turn the volume down on the show. So I don't, if you have a problem with Dr. Candace Matthews, and I probably said Owens several times throughout this show, I do apologize. I don't care. She gets results done. She represents Black Americans. You could be Hispanic, you could be white, Indian. It does not matter. If it's injustice happening in Texas, especially if she emphasized her county, she is there. She is on it. And it has to be somebody there to help people because we don't know a lot of the public policies, and the ordinance and a lot of legislation and laws, or if we do know, it could be a little bit confusing. When she puts people on Front Street like Dominique Alexander, yes, he is a grifter, but I'm like, why is it taking over a year for people to call him out? That makes no sense. There was something else I wanted to bring up. Let me bring in this caller. 346. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can. It's me again. So now, so I can understand everything, I'll let you ask me the questions I think that you want me to answer.
Well, I don't have any questions. Did you want to say something? Because I put a poll in the chat. Do you think that 35 years that Karmelo received was too excessive?
Yes, ma'am. And I responded to that poll. Well, not respond, but I answered it, I should say. I say yes, because see, the thing is, it's like, okay, so everybody knows that the two white ponies, they were bigger than Karmelo. So there was no reason for Karmelo to just go there and just assume fight. I think 60 or 70 pounds bigger, whatever, But see, the thing is, so after that incident happened, the twin brother died in his arms. I know damn well that was a wonderful feeling. But
how was that a wonderful feeling?
But I'm saying as a Black person.
Oh, no. Well, you can speak for yourself on that one, because that's one thing. And I'm going to encourage other people, stop thinking that way, because unless that was a person other than Black who was being violent racially hateful, really trying
They
to
jump.
kill you. If it's somebody doing that, that's one thing. But that kid was not. You understand? These are teenagers. These are kids, and these younger
Yes, ma'am.
generations,
Yes, ma'am.
they are used to diversity. They're used to having friends of all walks of life. So we cannot sit up here and say that Austin, was quote unquote picking on Karmelo because he's black. Throw that race shit out. And I'm never going to sit up here and say that's a good thing because somebody's child died. I don't care how you feel about white people. I don't care. Just like if somebody felt, I don't care. Somebody's child died. And I don't know if you're a parent or not, but as a parent, if my child died, I will want the person who did it to never come out of jail. But legally, we have a legal system that have sentencing guidelines. And so the reason why I say 35 years is too excessive, because you have serial killers and serial people that do a lot of R's out here, predators, pedophiles, they get 10 years, 25 years out in 10,
Yes,
5 years. So again, and this is premeditated. So our legal system, our justice system, we have the way our justice system is created to where it could be a wonderful thing if you have a good defense, but then it could be a horrible thing if you are the victim. So all this, if you notice, when Me Too had their big movement going on and they were suing all these men to get millions of dollars, blah, 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 not one organization or lobbyist or politician put forth any laws, any legislation protecting women or men or anybody who has been a victim of sexual assault. Only thing they did was sue people in civil court to get a big paycheck. That is not justice. But anyway, go ahead.
No, everything you just said, I can, like we said, this is, of course, this is not an argument, especially within our race. It's definitely, I understand, we may have, I can say this to be more, I understand that we might have slight different opinions, and I respect every opinion. I respect every opinion as long as it's coming from a black person, because we walk it basically through the same path. So I can understand. Yes. So I do respect your opinion, but I guess it's more like with me, it's more like I'm always used to it doesn't matter if your brother or sister, your ethnicity does right or wrong. You're going to ride with them regardless, because now it turns into a race thing.
No,
and
you know why it turned into a race thing? It turned into a race thing because the media and social media made into a race thing. And you know what? And I thought, and you and others are falling right into that trap. And another thing, if
I understand,
Karmelo's father in the beginning wanted to talk to Karmelo Anthony's family, the parents, and they shunned him. Especially Dominique Alexander, he was the main one. Don't talk to them. Don't do nothing. And when Anthony's had that press conference and Austin McCaff's father came there, he was in the background, whatever. People missed the whole point that this man was grieving. And if I guarantee and he said it from the beginning, this is not about race, to try and suppress what the media was heightening. If the Anthony family would have had some type of correspondence with the Metcalfs, I think the outcome possibly could have been different. And it seems like for the whole year, no one showed any type of remorse. But go ahead. You have the last word. Go ahead. 30 seconds. You have the last word.
Okay. So I will say this. I believe that he's going to win his appeal, because you have to remember, everybody has pictures of the judge knowing the victim's family.
Yeah, that wasn't true.
Why are you bringing me to a court where I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That turned out to be an AI photo. That wasn't true.
Straight up.
Yes.
It's
a lot of misinformation that was been floating around. It's a lot of misinformation floating around.
Oh, okay. I understand. But I understand that my 30 seconds are up, so I don't want to hold it. So I will let you go and get along with your wonderful broadcast, ma'am. I will be watching.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Um, it was some. Who was this? Texas. Oh, I'm confused. 713.
Hey, how you doing, Dan?
Hi, can you talk up? I can't hear you.
What about now?
That's better.
Okay, yeah, I'm just asking how you was doing. I just wanted to make a statement to all the black people that might be wondering, and especially to the white people saying Carmelo gonna be getting raped and all kind of stuff. I'm in Houston, 1 hour away from where he's prisoned in the Wallace Tech unit. I know a lot of people in that unit and people that's still in it. That's 85% black. We can take it as good or bad. There's so many of us locked up. But he's protected in there as far as it goes with white people. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. Shout out to Texas.
So he gonna be good. He gonna be good.
I think he's gonna be good too. A friend of mine told me, they know that he's not a criminal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that's in prison are lifetime criminals like that. They've been thugging it out, whether you white, black, or whatever, for so long. So they know his story, and so they're the most likely they're not going to mess with him for anything. They'll probably try to stay away from him or protect him because he's not one of them. So
Right. And just a little bit another note as far as the other inmates doing in the day room, they don't even sit on the benches. They sit on the floor. So as far as them being a threat, that's non-existent. Anything can happen, but as far as that, anybody worried about his well-being so far, he'll be all right.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you calling.
All right.
All righty. There's a couple more other clips I want to get to real quick, but I want to get to these phone calls, and I'm gonna get to the super chats. 520.
Hi, Dana.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. I live in Texas. I'm not originally from here. Military brought me here.
Mhm.
And then I got out. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. I saw I'm watching the TV
Oh no,
and talking
that's
at the same time.
yeah.
So
The TV is a
sorry.
delay, but don't pay
Yeah.
no mind. But go ahead. Yeah, it could be a distraction. But
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. So I know that people are saying it's not about race, but I've lived in red states and blue states, red cities and blue cities, and I'm learning and then also having legal issues myself. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I understand that race does have a huge factor. And with this child and his family living in a city that is predominantly, I'm just going to say other,
Mm-hmm.
besides black, that case was doomed from the beginning. Just because we know from, Dr. Claude Anderson and also, Thurgood Marshall, letting us know that the people that wear those robes also wear another robe. So I did hear you say that, the family, if they would have talked to the other family, that could possibly have helped, but I don't think so, just because the history of that area is drenched in the K fraternity, if you get my drift.
Okay.
And
you saying it wouldn't have made a difference with the sentencing and anything? With
it just would. Mm-hmm. No, it wouldn't have. And they made him an example. And it's sad, but we need more lawyers, more paralegals, more people that understand that the law and the interpretation what I'm learning from dealing with my case myself is that when you go through these schools, Black people have a different law that they will fall under, and how to fight it and how to argue it in those courtrooms. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me talk. I listen to you and Joe Judge Brown all the time, even though I don't agree with him all the time.
Right.
He's definitely a legacy.
Yes.
And
he is.
I appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye. So yeah. And honestly, we could do a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. At the end of the day, and I have said this several times, there are no winners. There are no winners here at all. I think we do have a epidemic of teen violence, teens gone wild. That needs to be addressed. Nobody isn't talking about that. So, it's a very unfortunate situation, and somebody's life was taken. And you got to answer for that. One way or the other, you got to answer for that. So thank you, Bernard says Austin dad is showing his true colors. He wasn't being genuine at the beginning. He was trying to cover up the negative character of the twins, possibly. But do we really know for sure? I know he sat down for 3 hours and he let it all out. And I don't blame him for that. I don't have a problem with what he said. Because again, he is a parent that is mourning his son's death. I have 2 kids. I have 4 grandkids. So if that would have been me, I don't care what the public is saying. I know how I would feel, that I wouldn't be like, well, you're being too hard on him for killing my son. You ain't thinking like that. But the law is the law, sentencing is sentencing. So it's like we have to separate things. We have to separate race when we're talking about the law. We need to separate our personal or emotional feelings. The law has no feelings. The law is, justice is blind. It's emotionless and it's blind for a reason. And thank you again, Bernard says, after listening to X Space Tuesday, I'm happy local Peter Loki isn't present today. LOL. I have dim repub fatigue. Yes. They always say black fatigue or white fatigue. Yeah, we have Democrats and Republican fatigue, honey. Bernard, again, definitely excessive, not mentioning the race difference, but given the sentence difference between Anthony and Allison in the same state, right? Different county, but the same state. And they both was using self-defense. So listen, different cases, but the same elements in the same state, 2 different outcomes. And Case and Allison is fighting to get his sentence reduced or convention overturned. He sent in his appeal and he only got 10 years. Poppy, thank you, says accountability will be had, whether it be in the household or by the hands of strangers. The injustice is in the excuses of bad behavior, in my opinion. Yeah. One of the problems that we have, and the judge repeatedly mentioned it, is the emasculation of boys and men. And part of the process of emasculating young boys and young men and even grown men but especially young men and boys, they don't know how to control their emotions. They don't know how to critically think or try to critically think or think logically. That is being completely eliminated from the household, from society. And that is one of the ways or multiple ways you emasculate a boy growing into a young man. They cannot control their emotions. Thank you. Bernard says, Sister Candace putting her bid in to represent the Anthony family. We're here for it, but I hope she doesn't give Charleston White too much camera time. I hope she doesn't give him no camera time, because he's a YN in the worst way. A YN's period is bad. He's an idiot. And I don't know why y'all tune in, click, like his post. He flip-flops. Something is mentally off with Charleston White. But she should have been representing the Anthony family from the beginning. But I do hope she's representing them now. Bernard again, Austin dad is showing his true colors. He wasn't being genuine at the beginning. He was trying to cover. Oh, I put that up there already. Yeah. So I think I have another caller. Yes, I do. Oh no, 614. You still there?
Yes, I sure am.
Okay, honey, because you had the show on.
Look, I know I am so sorry. I was frying my fish. I had to get my fish out the grease.
So what did you want to say?
All right, so let me begin by saying this. Foundationally, this was not about race, people. This was about two young men, school rivalry. When Austin and them walked up on Karmelo, they even said it in court. I mean, we finally got a little bit more of the information. They said it in court that there was two black young kids with Austin and his twin. So let's eliminate that whole race shtick. This was about two rival schools and him feeling that he had authority over Karmelo, period. Now, with that being said, I honestly believe that this was self-defense, because a lot of the information that we were getting was information that was just being spewed out over the internet. Nobody that was actually there got on YouTube or Facebook or anything and explained the situation on exactly the account that happened, because the police, if y'all remember, confiscated everybody's phones that day. Mm-hmm. So all the actual footage that would have normally been on Facebook to show the fight, because come on, let's face it, it's a high school. Yeah, that's all they do. That's all they do is play fights constantly on their phones, uploading on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. That's their culture. They love that. We didn't have that when we was growing up. We didn't have phones, for one, but still we just didn't partake in that. We got it in, we did, and we went on about our business. But this day and age, they video everything. So we really didn't have anything to go on but what other people were saying outside of the incident that was going on. Come to find out now that the boy was actually getting jumped. It was 4 against 1, not 1, like they try to make it seem like it was just him and Austin face to face. No, it was actually 4. He even tried to back out of the jumping, and they pulled him back in. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is, yes, it was excessive for him to stab him. But at that incident, are you really thinking about where it's going to land when 4 people are, stomping you out? You're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about getting somebody up off of you so you can get away. They said that when the boy was in the cruiser, he was bawling his eyes out. He even asked, was Austin all right? Does that sound like somebody that was intending to murder somebody? No.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. It will be a toss-up between him actually being able to stand his ground and manslaughter. You want to give him manslaughter? I will concede to that. I will agree with that.
But that's all under the bridge, because the trial is over. He got 35 years. And
yeah.
So
yeah. No, I understand that. What I'm saying is in public opinion.
Okay.
You want to give him manslaughter, cool. You know what I'm saying? But don't think for a minute that this was murder in the one, because he did not go there looking for a fight. Right. He was sitting at his little bench that he got invited to. He was sitting there minding his business, and they said he was sitting there for like 9 minutes.
But here's the thing,
If he was really there,
even though it was legal for him to carry the knife, he shouldn't have had it. If you don't have a weapon, you can't use it. And that is why these schools officials, tell you cannot bring a knife, gun, no weapons at school events or on school campuses for that reason. Whatever you want to do outside of the school premises, that's your business. But this is why they have these rules. And sometimes
now listen, Dana,
Mhm.
Dana, I understand that, but check this out. One, it wasn't a knife. It was a utility.
But it killed somebody.
Utensil.
It's still a weapon that killed
Yeah,
someone.
it did. I understand that, but it was the purpose of that tool was to scrape his cleat.
No, that
he's a
wasn't
track runner.
that came out in court that no, it was not for that. He just had it. It wasn't for that.
Okay, well then, also the track meet. The track meet was it not an open track? It's not a like a school exclusive track. It wasn't on school property. It was actually on public property.
Right.
So in Texas, they are allowed to carry from 5 years old. They can legally carry a knife.
Yeah,
as long as it's not
You
more
could carry
than 2.5
you
inches.
could carry the knife in the state, but you cannot carry it on school property or at school events. That was a school event.
School event.
It was
Okay.
sponsored
Okay.
by the school, the school district, the education, Department of Education. So it was
Right.
it was public property. That's why you can't tell
Right.
someone to move. If you're having a team meeting, you don't want the ops there, or whatever, hanging out. But other than that, you can't tell anyone to
Mhm.
move. But no, they still have rules and regulations outside school activities that are outside of school. So, which
Right.
is goes to the point they should have a supervisor there at all times. So, the whole thing is a mess. Listen, the trial is over. I think we need to move.
Oh no, we still got an appeal.
We had no, yeah. The appeal process is going on, but I think going forward, we, the public, the people, we need to focus on why are teens carrying weapons in the first place and being violent. I'm not calling Karmelo Anthony a violent person, but using violence to solve problems. That is a conversation that we need to start having. Not now, because I need to play a couple more clips. But go ahead, you have the last word, 30 seconds.
I don't know. There was another point I wanted to touch on, and I forgot just that fast. It wasn't the money situation because that's been the parents already came out and spoke on that. It was something else I was trying to say, man.
That's all right. We'll call back if you remember.
Well, can I say this about Chow?
Go ahead if it's brief.
Yeah. I honestly believe it was Chow's son that shot that baby. It wasn't him. And that's it. That's all I need to say.
That's a good theory. I may got to revisit that. Thank you so much. Appreciate you calling.
Yep. Love you, Dana.
All right. Love you back. I want to play this. I haven't talked about, honey, it's a close up. Y'all can't be seeing my little grays that be growing in my new growth. Thank you, Walter, for the Cash App, guys. Hit that like button and share. Or maybe I should put it this way. No. Yes. I'm gonna do it like this. So remember Drewski when he did the skit? And it was funny. David Oyelowo, I can't pronounce his name. I probably said it wrong. He reacted. I'm about to play the clip of David reacting to Drewski's skit with British actors playing foundational Black American character roles in movies and stuff, right? I thought the skit was funny, but there is something that is going around in Hollywood to where Hollywood executives, the big dogs, they prefer to hire a Black immigrant, let's say from England or maybe an African country, but particularly British Black actors over American actors. But this is, and so David, he's played several foundational Black American figures. He played Martin Luther King in Selma. He played Bass Reeves in the Bass Reeves show, created by Tyler Sherrington. And these are major historical figures of foundational Black Americans. So this is his remark to Drewski's skit and the overall conversation of Black British actors taking roles or giving roles of prominent Black Americans.
My answer to that,
to the Drewski
thing, is to start a streaming platform with an African American like Nate Parker, and for us to build something from a global perspective that is for African Americans, is for Afro South Americans, it's for Black people in the diaspora, it's for people on the continent, it's for all of us.
That look like
As we call it a tent, we call it an umbrella, we call it a table that we're inviting everyone to. The best things that I've done with my career have been collaborations between me. For instance, I brought Ava onto Selma. People say, oh, why did she cast him? I fought for her to be in that movie, to direct that movie, and then Oprah fought for both of us to get that movie made. When we did Bass Reeves, because the narrative around, are Black Brits better trained or whatever?
Yeah.
When we were doing Bass Reeves, there were names that they wanted to have in that show.
Yeah.
But and I'm not going to take all the credit for this, but I fought hard for this. Yeah. Lauren E. Banks, who plays my wife, Yale. Grantham Coleman, Juilliard. Joaquina Calacango, Juilliard. When we were doing that show, I wanted to create a show where you have the best of us that haven't yet populated the pipeline. People who, like Demi Singleton, Lonnie Chavis played the lead in the film I directed, The Waterman. He was in This Is Us. And then I put him center of my movie. African American, Demi Singleton, African American. Yeah. When we were doing Selma, I saw Lakeith Stanfield in a small film called Short Term 12. I went to Ava and said, this guy.
Yeah, Lakeith.
That was Lakeith's big film after Short Term 12. I saw Stefan James in a trailer for some football movie when I was in the movies. I went, that guy for John Lewis. That's who we need for John Lewis. Tessa Thompson came and auditioned to play Coretta as Scott King, which Carmen Ejogo ended up playing. Yeah. But Ava and I went, whoa.
Including everybody.
We brought her in for Diane Nash. That's what happens when you collaborate rather than be focused on separation.
Right.
And so I think it's funny, that skit. Do I think it's helpful? I don't think it's helpful, but my answer to it is to continue to collaborate, is to continue to demonstrate that actually, and it sounds corny, but we are way, way, way better and way, way, way more powerful together than we are apart. Yeah.
So I hear you. So here's my thoughts on it, right? Honey, the skit, see, here's the missing elephant in the room. The elephant that's in the room that he's missing and other people are missing. It was funny. Take it as that. Is there some truth to it? Absolutely. But nobody isn't accusing the Black British actors of sabotaging Black American actors because they don't make those decisions because you don't have that power. You have to understand, and he should have mentioned this, but he did not because he didn't want to ruin any future potential roles, that the white executives are the one who intentionally overlook a lot of Black Americans for foreign actors, particularly British, because they think that they are more professionally trained than Americans. We have had a lot of Black American actors play British and African famous figures. Denzel Washington, Forrest Whitaker, and others. So it works both ways. As long as you do the research, understand the history, respect the history, come with some knowledge, because a lot of these people that go to Juilliard that are so well trained, these Black British actors, you are so well trained in your craft, but you don't know nothing, first of all, about American history, and damn sure nothing about Black American history. But because you feel as though you were so well trained, you could just take any character and make it your own. I'm sorry, Cynthia Evova, however you pronounce her last name, she was a horrible Harriet Tubman. Horrible. I don't know who cast her and why. She was horrible because she did not know the assignment. She did not understand the culture. She did not respect the lineage because she didn't know. She wasn't prepared. If you are an actor approaching a character and that is your first time knowing about that particular person or said time in history, that is somewhat of a problem. And I would say this to these white executives, you need to bring people of that culture, of that lineage to play these parts, unless there is an actor who knows their history, who has knowledge of that. So he's right. We should be collaborating. You have to collaborate. But stop making it seem like it is us against you. And you need to understand who is really causing the friction, putting you ahead of Black Americans, right? And who is really against you, because it ain't us. It is the white executives of Hollywood. Consuelo, are you still there?
Yes, lady, I'm still here.
I'd rather have you on a screen.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that I did not listen to that. I scrolled past it. I did not. I mean, but to hear him say some of the stuff that he said, you know, I'm having a real problem with others thinking that somehow we should subjugate ourselves to them when they're playing our heroines and heroes. And we are the descendants and the legacy and the lineage of these beings in America. This is how we roll. This is our culture. They don't have their own. So why are you thinking you can come here and be better than us, connecting to our narrative and our ancestors, right? That doesn't make any sense. To me, that's insane right there.
Right. Exactly.
Like, how do you, as someone that hasn't been on this soil, not attached, connected to the people, and just because you get trained and indoctrinated at the white man's institution, all of a sudden you better? But we can walk off the street and we ain't got to go to Juilliard and still perform on the screen. So I have a serious problem with these beings, but I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there.
I meant to do this one earlier, right? Let me see here. Let me put this here. Let me make this bigger. Because this is what I wanted to play here. I wanted to show this. Wait a minute. So apparently, this is a Long Beach school district hosted a segregated Black only graduation. And I'm like, huh? And I asked Grunk, right? I said, at Grunk, explain this post. And then somebody said, at Grunk, you got a question, man, wake up. And then Grunk responded, I am Just Terry at Long Beach Unified held its third annual supplement to Black Grad Celebration May 31st at Jordan High School for Black/African American seniors only, organized by the District Center of Black Student Excellence, taxpayer funded, with kente cloth, stoles, kente stoles, and cultural elements. It's voluntary, and in addition to the main graduation, the district frames it as affinity support for equality. Critics call it race exclusive segregation in public school. Equal treatment means no official racial gatekeeping, celebrate achievement together, or keep events open and voluntary for anyone. So here's the thing. I don't have a problem with this so much, but I do have a problem with this. So the reason why I have a problem with this is, why do you feel the need to have a separate all black graduation celebration? Is the school majority white? Is it mixed? Did you feel like you were being isolated or segregated or discriminated against while you were at the school? If so, why didn't your parents file lawsuits? So I don't think none of these students have been treated unfairly, unequal, or been discriminated against. Because if you have, then parents should file lawsuits. But there is no lawsuits. You just chose to, first of all, the kente cloth. That's Africa. We're not Africans. Sorry. But you chose to have a black only graduation celebration in 2026. And you know why the school district allowed this in Los Angeles? It's because it is a liberal city. It is a Democrat stronghold. And Democrats, this is their way of training and implementing in the minds of young people that victimhood mentality. So this is the up and coming new generation of race warriors in America. Even though they've never been discriminated against, they don't even know what Jim Crow is. They don't. They don't know what the Civil Rights Movement is, Civil Rights Act is. But the Democrats, the liberals, black and white, especially the black women, are training these young black people to be race baiters, race hustlers, and to have a victim mentality. And this is how they do it. Now, if schools have Muslim graduation celebrations, LGBTQ, the rainbow graduation celebrations, and any other group, that's fine. Don't have a hissy fit when you see that. And they should, since people want to be exclusive and celebrate their own culture. Now, white people complain about this because they say if we had an all white celebration, then we would be called racist. You would, because you don't need an all white celebration. And here's why. Because whiteness and white people have been the standard since 1776 and beyond here in this land. You white people are the standard. You always been the standard. 250th anniversary this year on white standards. So because you are the standard, you cannot, or you don't get to have a all white only celebration, because this is your land that you killed for, colonized, did all type of treacherous things, and continue to do. America, we are the dominant country in the world, which means that we are not interested in cohabitating in unity with other countries. Because if you want to be the main one on top, then you have to treat everyone as if they're beneath you. And that has been the culture, the American culture within our society here. White people is the standard. So no, you cannot have all white owned celebrations. And you should not feel any type of way when a black person or black people have separate celebrations because you're the standard. But swinging it back, this is nothing but training young black people to be race hustlers, race grifters, and have a victim mentality. I wouldn't have my son participate, me personally, because first of all, you're not wearing no damn kente cloth. You're not African at all. And they're trying to put that Pan-Africanism in them. And by the way, a lot of these kids are not foundational. They are of African lineage. So you are actually bringing in outside culture, but naming it black.
You are the last party in the conference. Line muted.
Actually, let me hang up the phone. Yeah, I turned the phones off. You must be joking. Karmelo never stood a chance. Dana, you are wise enough to know this. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, that's for something else. So, yeah, so the all black graduation, I just see it as the training grounds of the black hustler culture future. These are the race hustlers, the new generation of race hustlers that the liberals are bringing forth and indoctrinating. They're indoctrinating these young black people into race hustlers. That's what they're doing. Thank you, Consuelo, for calling in. Appreciate you. I think I had another post that I wanted to. Oh, who is this again? This is Larry Reed. Calls for a mass exodus of Black Americans to Africa after Carmelo Anthony verdict. I'm not going.
And I want you to begin to think about this America and the white people problem that we have. I'm going to make a statement. We know that Martin Luther King, the beginning of his work was all about integration. We do know that later on that did change. Integration has had great benefits. I think now, unless you must stay in America, unless you are supposed to be in the USA. Otherwise, if you're Black, integration has had great benefits. I'm telling you, and I'm saying this as a collective, let's drain this place of its benefits and make our mass exodus and go home and build. I repeat, integration has had great benefits, Black people. For some of us. Let's drain this place of its benefits and make our mass exodus and go home and build. See, civil rights did not make white people that are infected with whiteness stop being racist. They still raised racist children that run this country to this day. The Civil Rights Act just made social discrimination federally illegal in key areas of American life, housing, voting, and such. It changed what was lawful, what was punishable, and what rights Black Americans could legally demand and defend. That's it. And now, those rights at the federal level, there's an attempt to roll them back. Integration has had great benefits. Let's drain this place of its benefits and make our mass exodus and go home and build. This land ain't rich enough to hold who you are. You come from a land that flows with milk and honey. They poured you out of that land ancestrally and brought you to a place to where your royalty was not recognized.
So let me just pause it right there. This is 4 minutes of just babble. Number one, a real heterosexual man is not going to listen to this man and follow him. No. No one is not going to follow what you're saying, Reed. What's his? I'm about to say L.A. Reid. What's his name again? Larry Reid. Yeah. There has, and I know he had like some little bit of controversy. So I don't understand why this is even going viral. Black people are not going to Africa for what? We don't know the language. We don't know the culture. And it's a continent. It's a continent with, I believe, 54 or 56 countries or 54 countries. And I'm not living in the Congo. I'm not living in Nigeria. I'm not living in Mali. I will go visit Morocco. I don't even want to go visit Ghana. I do want to go to South Africa. If I was to live anywhere on the continent, it would be South Africa. I want to go visit Senegal. I will go visit. But imagine all 13% of Black Americans moved to different countries in Africa. I don't do the jungle at all. No, I do not. And their police department, honey, is worse than ours. Their police brutality is way worse. And everybody there is the same color. Everybody in power of government and in position of power and in any government position is the same color. They're all Black. I'm not trying to learn a whole new language. I don't want to hear the African accent language every single day. I will go and visit. I will do business, but I'm not going to relocate and what they call that, repatriate back to no damn Africa. I am American. And when you step outside of this country, other people that live outside this country and other countries, whether you white, Black, or what have you, they can see you walk and they say that's an American. Now, there's a difference between Black Americans and the gringos. See, the white people, they are the gringos. And they do behave like they have this elitism when they do leave this country. Now, they know we are Americans before we are Black because they know and then they look at us like we have money. But the gringos do walk around as if they own the goddamn place. Either way, no, we're not moving to Africa. Larry, take your ass to Africa first and tell us how it is. Why don't you go? But again, ain't no heterosexual man, ain't no real man listening to this fairy. They're not. I'm sorry, they're not. He's too soft. He's too sweet. A real Black man is not going to say, yeah, I like what you're saying, brother. Let's go to Africa. And no. And Larry, if you play for the other team, don't go to Uganda. Don't go to Ghana because they write laws. that do not favor rainbow. People are just doing too much. The Los Angeles high school with the black graduation doing too much. Larry Reed doing too much. Jasmine Crockett doing too much. Ayanna Presley doing too much. Everybody's doing too much, but they're not doing the right thing. And that's it. I think I had another super chat. You so did. Thank you, Bernard. I was tricked. I thought he was an American. I loved him in The Butler. Love you. Oh, that's right. He played in The Butler too. He did a good job in The Butler. But this is my last super chat this evening. Spit my lunch money, Dana. I love you, Bernard. First of all, people who spend money, I love you the most and first. Yes. Thank you, Bernard. You're such a good supporter. And Walter, he always send me super chats. Appreciate you guys. Trinity. Okay, I'm gonna follow you back, Trinity. Well, you say most blacks in America, IMO, have the same template. I don't understand that. I guess. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you live again on Monday with me and Judge Joe Brown. I meant to bring up a comment, but I'll do that on Monday. All right, everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Stay blessed, stay safe, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.